soundtrack.
What is up? Welcome back to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs Television. Once again, it's your boy Kier, and today in the studio we have the owner of Shutter Films, film director Troy Lee. How you doing today, Troy?
I'm doing great, Kier. How about you?
Good. So Troy and I have worked together for a while. You've submitted some films in my festival in the past, and then also I was actually in one of your films as well just recently, and we'll get into that also. But I just kind of wanted to get a little bit of insight into just kind of like your background and how did you get into filmmaking?
So, believe it or not, even though I watched films as a kid, it actually all started off with video games and going to theme parks.
Okay.
Because it all started when I went to Disneyland and Universal Studios for the first time. And when I went on these rides that are movie themed, it just seemed like I was in the movie myself. And, that just made me want to have that acting passion to, want to be a part of something like that. And in addition to that, when I play video games, one thing I noticed that with films and games have in common is that they have good stories, and they have good cinematic work. And when you play video games, it's like you are playing a movie. I mean, of course I can sit back and watch a movie, but it just feels good when you play movies, especially those Telltale games where you're like picking what actions to do on the script.
Right. Like, yeah, and sometimes they get made into movies like Dungeons and Dragons and things of that nature.
Yeah. So that's
Resident Evil.
Yeah, and not to mention, it's not just. And the reason how I got into filmmaking was, when I was in high school and middle school, I was often looked down on. And, the one thing that kept me afloat was watching YouTube videos and watching films. And I saw how, popular these, celebrities, YouTubers, how they meant something to people, how, people love them. And, that just made me build a passion to want to be someone like that. And it's not really just for fame. It's more of, it's just more inspiring somebody. I want to be a role model to whoever's out there. I want someone to come up to me saying, I love you. You've changed my life. And, that just means a lot to me. So
Right.
That's the reason why I got into filmmaking was, it's also because whatever I write on a piece of paper comes to life. It's like you're playing God. So that's also why I got into filmmaking too.
Okay. And then how did Shutter Films actually get started? How did that come about?
So believe it or not, Shutter Films was born in 2019, but I've been doing this since 2015.
Okay.
Because before Shutter Films, there was Slasher Productions. It started when I was a sophomore in high school. It was like this thing me and my little brother made together with my best friend and his little brother, and we grew the team just a little bit. And, we started off with like a Five Nights at Freddy's stuff, and then we eventually made other films. Like our first web series was Nerf Combat Online. It's like a Nerf gun shooting web series. And we made some other films, some other just low budget, low quality stuff, just for the fun of it. Because of course during that time, my parents, they weren't really supportive of my film career because Asian parents, we don't do stuff like that because it's not really a profitable career. But I still did it because it's just what I love doing.
Right.
And I had the hopes of gaining like 1 million subscribers like everyone else. But of course there were some cons to that because a lot of our fans during Slasher Productions, they were pretty toxic. They weren't watching our videos for us. They were watching because of Devin D. Santiago, one of my friends who was with me for Slasher Productions. He also goes by VideoMaster882. He was a very popular streamer at the time. And a lot of his fans watch my videos because of him.
Because of him, right.
Yeah, so because of that, they don't believe in our mission, they believe in his. And, they'll always bash our videos saying Devin needs this, Devin needs that. And they've even made threats to us on our Instagram pages and even impersonated us a couple times. So that's when my brother at the time, I was really against it. I was actually against the birth of Shutter Films. My little brother at the time was like, hey Troy, we need to make a new channel because, these fans don't support us. The channel's dead. We need it reborn. And after talking to him about it, about the pros and cons, I was like, you know what, let's do it. So we made Shutter Films.
Okay.
And then when Shutter Films started, we debuted our first web series, Rent-A-Cops.
Right.
Episode 1, which is you have the 4th episode in your festival.
Right. Exactly.
So we had Rent-A-Cops episode 1, then we debuted episode 2, and then of course COVID hit. And COVID, we were on hiatus for like a good year, and we weren't. And during that time, I was in the sheriff's academy. I was pursuing my law enforcement career, and of course that didn't work out. Eventually, I did. And what really made me to take Shutter Films more seriously was when I was a part of the Shingle Spring Band at Milwaukee Indians Tribal Police. And when I got let go from there, I decided to take my film career a little bit more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I picked up the phone, called Devin, who was co-leader at the time, saying, "Hey, Devin, let's get some more people, take the channel a little more seriously." And then we've expanded since then.
Okay. That's good, man. I mean, that's a great way to just kind of get into the filmmaking industry.
Mm-hmm.
You found like there were some issues, and then you kind of pivoted and transitioned, and now you have Shutter Films. And and so what kind of films are you looking to do with Shutter Film? I mean, obviously you're working on the budgets, but if you had, if the budget was unlimited, what kind of films would you like to do?
I'll be honest, if I had a big budget, well, the first thing I would do is build a film studio here in Sacramento, similar to one that Universal Studios has. But one of the biggest films I want to make, like the first thing I would make is 300, because I'm a big fan of ancient history.
Okay.
Like the Greeks, the Spartans, the Egyptians, the Romans, basically the beauty of the ancient world. And I would say that 300 would be the first, because I'm a big fan of Spartans. And except that compared to the 300 we have now, I want to make mine historically accurate. You know, none of the tighty-whities and abs showing.
Right, just more realistic.
More realistic historical stuff.
Yeah,
and I would play as Leonidas. That's why I'm working now and trying to build the abs. But,
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, and I would also make films on Roman history, Egyptians, because if you look at Netflix and all these other movies, there's not a lot of films, at least historically accurate, based on ancient history. And even if they were, the directors find ways to mess it up, because
Right.
it's Hollywood.
Right. No, for sure. No, I completely agree. No, that's great, man. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I want to kind of get to the 48-hour film challenge before we actually get wrapped up. So I know I was in part of that film as kind of a cameo. So tell us a little bit about that film and the 48-hour film challenge itself.
So the 48-hour film challenge, this is my second one, third one, because my first one was the Asian Pacific Film Festival.
Right.
So my third one right now is Rise of the Collapse. I'm not gonna say too much. It's just because my inspiration is Bong Joon-ho from Parasite, and he said that I'm gonna say as little as possible, because the film's good when you go in cold.
Right.
But I'm gonna say that it is a zombie apocalypse film, and there is a moral to the story of it. But I would like audiences to attend the festival next Saturday. Next Saturday at 11 a.m. at the Railroad Museum. Tickets,
which is the 19th?
The 19th,
Right.
yes. It's going to be from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. It's going to be 40-hour challenge plus Sac Gems, some other films up there. So of course, the tickets are on Eventbrite. If you want to buy tickets, go into California Film Foundation, and you can buy tickets there.
Perfect. Well, sounds good. And before we let you go, where can people find Troy Lee? Where can we find you?
Yeah, so you can find me at my Instagram, DDragon65. DDragon is actually my stage name, DDragon65, and my Facebook and my IMDb are both Troy Lee's. You'll remember this handsome face, and also my YouTube channel is Shutter Films, spelled SHUTTER Films.
Sounds good. Well, definitely follow Shutter Films. I'll actually be in that film, so if you want to actually see me as a cameo, go down to the event this Saturday, and you can see me as well. Well, we thank you for being on the show, and hopefully it's a really successful event next weekend, or this next weekend. Yeah.
Yes, next Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday. Hopefully it's a really successful event. We thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back again soon with another episode. Have a great day.